Welcome back to Spotlight Reads, where we uncover the darkest corners of literature. Today, we're not just reviewing a book, we're conducting a forensic examination, an autopsy of a soul. We're going inside the psychological machinery of George Orwell's 1984 to track the systematic, step-by-step destruction of a human mind. So, how do you dismantle a person? Well, the party has a process. Our autopsy follows 6 distinct stages. These are the deliberate surgical steps they use to hollow out a human soul from the inside, until there's absolutely nothing left. Alright, Chapter 1. The first incision. It's made right into reality itself. You see, the party gets it. To control a person, you first have to sever their connection to objective truth. If you can make the world around them feel unstable, their mind will follow. And the first tool they use for this assault, it's just built on this foundation of sheer, brutal irony. They call it the Ministry of Truth. Minitrue, but its entire purpose, it's to create lies. It's the engine driving the party's war on history, making sure that the past is just as flexible as the present. And the effect of all this, it creates this constant state of psychological vertigo for anyone living under its watch. And here you can see the specific tools they use in this assault. You've got memory holes, basically furnaces that just consume inconvenient facts. Then there are the unpersons, people who displease the party. Poof, their entire existence is wiped from every single record. Economic forecasts are rectified, so it always looks like the party is succeeding. And heroes like Comrade Ogilvy, are just fabricated from thin air. He never existed. The goal in all this, to create a world where absolutely nothing is certain, except the party. And this right here, this isn't just a catchy slogan. In Oceana, this is the fundamental law of physics. It's the party's entire philosophical justification for total, absolute control. Think about it. By controlling every piece of information in the present, the party seizes complete ownership of the past. And if you own the past, you own the future too. Okay, so once the external world is a complete mess, totally destabilized, that's when the party invades the internal world. The next stage of our autopsy reveals how they colonize thought itself, and they start with our most basic tool, language. Newspeak, it operates on a really chilling principle. It's not designed to help people express themselves. It's designed to shrink expression. So they get rid of a word like bad and replace it with ungood. They take the word free and strip it of all political meanings, so you can only say something like, "This dog is free from lice." It's genius in a terrifying way. The party makes dissent impossible. I mean, how can you possibly rebel against tyranny if you literally don't have the words to even think about it? And listen to this quote from Syme, the guy working on the Newspeak dictionary. It is just absolutely chilling. He doesn't see what he's doing as censorship. To him, it's a kind of purification. His joy in destroying words reveals the party's real goal here, to narrow the range of human consciousness until a heretical thought isn't just illegal, it's literally impossible. And all of this leads directly to the party's ultimate weapon, Thoughtcrime. This is where they criminalize not just your actions, not just your words, but your mind itself. The wrong facial expression, a flicker of doubt in your eyes, those are just symptoms of a crime that is its own death sentence. You see, the moment you have that unorthodox thought, you're already dead. So how do they enforce this? Well, the party weaponizes the most fundamental human bond there is, family. Organizations like the Spies literally turn children into agents of the state. Think about Mr. Parsons. He's ultimately denounced by his own daughter for a crime he's supposedly committed in his sleep. No one is safe, and you're especially not safe from the people you love. So at this point, Winston's mind is completely under siege. But then, a sliver of hope emerges, a chance to rebel. The thing is, this is also part of the party's grand design. This chapter of our autopsy is going to look at how the state allows these tiny little freedoms only to weaponize them later as part of a much bigger trap. Winston's entire rebellion is built on these really fragile symbols. A private room, a place he thinks is free from surveillance, and this glass paperweight, a totally useless but beautiful little object from an unaltered past. For him, together, they represent this desperate attempt to hold on to something small, something authentic, a private self. And then, this. A cold voice just cuts through the silence. It comes from a hidden telescreen, tucked away behind a picture on the wall. And just like that, everything shatters. The sanctuary, it was an observation chamber all along. The rebellion, they were watching from the very start. All that hope, it was just an illusion, carefully designed to make the final capture that much more devastating. So, with that illusion of rebellion completely shattered, Winston is captured. But for the party, physical capture is never enough. They now have to force his mind to accept its own defeat, to break not just his body, but his very reason. And that brings us to Doublethink, the deliberate, systematic fracturing of the mind. So what is Doublethink? It's basically the mental gymnastics you have to perform to survive in Oceania. It's the ability to know for a fact that the party is changing history, while at the exact same time genuinely believing that the new history has always been true. It's a conscious process of making yourself unconscious. It's a form of controlled insanity. And the whole process is a direct assault on logic. I mean, when the party says 2 + 2 = 5, it has nothing to do with math. It's all about power. The goal is to force you to reject the evidence of your own eyes, your own reason, and to accept that the only truth that matters is whatever the party says it is, period. This all leads to the party's truly terrifying philosophy, which O'Brien states pretty plainly. You see, the party believes there is no such thing as an external, objective reality. They think reality is just a social construct. And since the party controls society, well, they control reality. If they can get inside every single mind, then yeah, they can make 2 + 2 = 5. Remember this phrase. O'Brien says it to Winston in a dream. And Winston, he believed it was this cryptic promise of a better, revolutionary future. But the terrible truth, it referred to the Ministry of Love. A place where the lights are never, ever turned off. A place with no shadows, no privacy, and absolutely no hope. Total illumination and total control. And now we arrive at the final operating theater. After the party has broken Winston's connection to reality, to language, and to logic, they move in to annihilate whatever remains of his core self. Welcome to Room 101. So what is in Room 101? The question just hangs there, because the answer is different for every single person. Room 101 contains the worst thing in the world. But here's the thing, that worst thing is completely subjective. The party is smarter than to use a one-size-fits-all torture. No, they use a personalized one. They dig deep and they find the one thing you absolutely cannot bear. That one primal fear buried in your subconscious. And they confront you with it. For Winston, as we know, that thing is rats. And this is what happens. Faced with his ultimate absolute terror, Winston's last bastion of self, his love for Julia, it just crumbles. He doesn't just betray her. He screams for them to torture her in his place. In that single moment, his loyalty, his love, his very soul is just cauterized by fear. The party found his breaking point, and they shattered him against it. The procedure is complete. So now, our autopsy examines the result. And what's left? An empty shell of a man, sitting in the Chestnut Tree Cafe, which is basically a graveyard for broken rebels, just waiting for the end. And that brings us to this line. It's going to be one of the most devastating final lines in all of literature. But you have to understand, this isn't a story of conversion. This isn't love. This is an epitaph. It signifies the complete, total absence of Winston Smith. You see, the party didn't just kill him, they erased him. And then they wrote their own slogan in the empty space where his soul used to be. The victory is his submission. The love is just a void. This deep dive was brought to you by Spotlight Reads. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to Face the Abyss.
Totalitarianism wins by reshaping the inner world before it ever touches the outer one. When truth becomes editable and memory grows uncertain, fear settles into the mind like a permanent season. Winston was not simply defeated. He was rewritten, piece by piece, in the quiet spaces where doubt replaces will. A person breaks not through pain alone, but through the slow erosion of self. In a system built to erase identity, the final act of resistance is remembering who you once were.